call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Parks, Recreation, Forestry Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. It's 5:30 p.m. We're moving right on to item number 2, which is the approval of minutes from July 17th, 2024. I'd entertain a motion.
I have to change it. I've got to make a motion first.
What's that?
I've got to change on it.
Yep, you can. Yeah, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion is
I'll second.
in a second. We got a motion in a second. Discussion?
I can't believe I actually read it. I was present at that meeting.
Oh, can we just change that to
yes.
and present?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're not mentioned anywhere in the minutes.
I am repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
Makes a motion, does this, but yeah, I'm not at the meeting.
I am, repeatedly.
What's going on there?
I have a motion and a second to approve with that one amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Anybody need to declare a conflict of interest? No conflicts of interest. There is nobody here from the public, it's safe to say. We are on to the cemetery contracts, and this is presented by Amy.
Okay, let's see here. So we do 5-year maintenance contracts with the Lutheran and Catholic Cemetery Associations. Those are set to expire this December 31st. So the department, Justin, myself, Dan Rogers, recently met with the other cemetery boards to negotiate terms and conditions of the next contract for another 5 years. We did reach an agreement with some increases that were agreed upon between both parties. So in the packet, you will see the contract with the edits that were presented to them. And then the next copy is the clean edited versions for each of those cemetery associations.
Okay. Any major changes here besides those fee increases that we need to talk about?
Not really. It's kind of just cleaning up some language.
Yeah.
All of the language that was changed or considered was initiated by us. So they're the ones who made the requests for the changes. Obviously, we requested the fees to go up to 4.75, but we kind of battled back and forth and we settled on a different number. 5 years ago, Amy, were the fees 3% or 3.5?
4.5.
A number of years ago?
Well, the last 5 years.
The ones before that, though?
I think it was 3.
3, so we did go up in the last contract almost 1.5%. So this one we've kind of brought it down a little bit. So it's still high compared to like consumer price index inflation, but we're still trying to recoup more dollars from the contract.
Okay. I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the changes as noted and summarized, and would entertain a second.
I second.
A second by Chelsea. Okay, what do we have for discussion? Any questions? Discussion items? I like that you've met with the boards already, and there are no surprises here, and I think it's pretty straightforward. All right. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. We are on to more fees. 2020. The 2025. So there's two separate agenda items: cemetery contracts and cemetery fees.
Yeah, so essentially we have a contract that's executed with them for a 5-year agreement.
Okay.
And then these fees are reviewed annually by the committee. And these are the fees that we would charge not only the cemeteries, but individuals using our facilities.
I got you. This is outside of what we just talked about with
Right.
contracts. All right, so we're on to item number 6, the 2025 cemetery fees. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, so the last time that fees were increased at Hillside Cemetery was in 2020. So it's been a while. We are looking at a 2% increase. We do comparables to meet budget requirements, services, maintenance, equipment rental, things like that. They go up, so we need to cover those costs. Let's see here. I did note a couple of items. If you look at the proposed fee schedule, The current fees are listed, and then the proposed fees are also listed. A couple things to note for crypt spaces. We have 4 levels, so above ground caskets. We just reverse those fees as the upper levels require more staff time to place caskets, as we have to use a lift and other things to get those in there. Let's see, the winter charge also, we're looking currently $100. We want to go to $150, as that is closer to what other cemeteries charge, plus to recoup some of those fees as well that we're just not recouping for winter burials. And that's really the biggest things, I guess, that were noted here.
Okay. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ben,
I'll second.
and second by Chelsea. Okay, so do we have questions or discussion for Amy?
Just a quick question, just on the winter charges. That's blanket charge whether there's snow on the ground or frost. It's just from this calendar date to this calendar. We don't get in those kind of disputes, right?
No, not really. I mean, like this past November, generally the winter charge starts November 1st and then ends March 30th. We didn't have snow and there wasn't much for frost, so we did do away with that charge until we did get some. It just didn't feel right charging that, so some of it we just
Sounds fine.
go back into.
And what's the reason for the 50% increase in that?
Compared to other cemeteries, we were pretty much way undercharging for that. And also just equipment and staff time, things like that. It takes a lot longer to
Okay.
prepare a grave in the winter than it does in
And
the
I can
summer.
speak in general in construction, there's always charges for winter. You know,
Mhm.
just wear and tear on machines, just having to warm things up if you don't go.
Mhm.
Sure.
It doesn't seem out of line.
Yep.
And I see the big difference in the crypts, as you mentioned, so that because there's more staff time required for the upper 2 levels, you're kind of flipping the rates.
Right.
And decreasing significantly for the lower 2 levels, okay? All right. And then overall, this is 2%, is that right?
Yes, except for the winter charge was.
Right. Okay,
different.
great, okay. Other questions?
Nope.
I think this is reasonable. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. We are an agreeable committee tonight. So we are going to go on to the 2025 recreation fees, item 7. This is presented by Amanda.
All right, I have updated the recreation fee schedule that we have in place. I highlighted in yellow some of the changes. I'll speak on all of them, I guess, just as quickly as I can. The Aqua Zumba drop-in, that's still a contracted service, but we added a drop-in rate this year, so that's on the schedule. I changed tennis lessons outdoor to the same price as tennis lessons indoor. The difference is we rent a facility for indoor tennis, and outdoor we typically get to use our own courts, except for this year, every week it felt like I was renting at least 1, maybe 2 time slots at the other one, so it just, in my mind, made sense to have just all tennis be the same. And then another change I made for fall soccer, I kept the registration fee the same for participants, but if we were to get volunteer coaches, I wanted to waive the fee for those coaches. So I've been doing that. I just also wanted your approval on it because I think that's a big thank you for getting volunteers for some of our programs.
Awesome.
The Tiger softball camp, I bumped that one up $5 for residents just because when I ran the numbers, just with staff time, there's not a ton of equipment involved in it, but with the increase in pay that we've had recently, that we weren't really recovering much money from that. So I just went up $5 on that. Plus it's in line with the rest of our programs that are on the low end, $25. And then I added the youth or the volunteer coach waiving the fee for our softball teams as well. Those are the only teams that I really have to recruit volunteer coaches for, or the only leagues. And then I did something similar with Pickleball 101. we didn't have it last year, but I do have it this year, but I wanted to keep it free for the public just because it's a growing thing. We don't have a ton of expenses into pickleball from the Park and Rec standpoint, programming wise anyways. So we do the annual fee. I thought if someone wanted to volunteer to run a pickleball 101 class, it would benefit everybody. It would get new pickleballers in, learning the game, plus then we would waive the annual fee for the person teaching it. So that's, I guess, the third thing that I would like to try to do as far as recruiting instructors. And then the three bottom highlights are, they've been there, they just were never actually on this schedule. So the senior health fair, that has its own separate committee. So we changed the booth rate this year from $30 to $40. That's the October thing for senior citizens. That was already approved by the Committee on Aging, that change. The Bring Your Crap and Craft is a contracted thing. She sets the fee for that, but I just wanted it to be listed on here as a program that's also being ran. And then the holiday door decorating, I started that last year, so this did not make the list last year. We decorated doors in here and then had all the proceeds go to the Ronald McDonald House. I just wanted something fun to do inside while also getting people in the Christmas spirit, if I can say the word Christmas, I guess, holiday, whatever. So we charged for doors last year, but then we turned around and gave all the proceeds to the Ronald McDonald House. So this year I'd like to do free registration and work on donations with it. So that will just be free this year. And that's the only major changes that I have.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and approve the changes as suggested.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ben.
I'll second.
Second by Chris. Okay, what kind of questions do we have for Amanda? Anything?
I don't have questions, but I think it's a great idea to drop the registration fee for coaches' kids.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully, I know you guys struggle to get people to volunteer, so.
I feel like I'm on my hands and knees begging sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm even coaching this year, and I waived my
Agreed.
own registration
Yeah.
fee, sorry. But I'm coaching because of it.
Agreed, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just want to make a note, maybe more so for the public, that there are no increases, outside of that aqua Zumba drop-in for aquatics, which means,
Right.
daily admission to Vanda Hay Waters for next season will remain the same.
Yep.
All right, yeah,
Yep.
and I think that's a real positive. I know that we had an increase last year
Yep.
after, learning after the first year, so that's great news, yeah. One other question, the pickleball daily admission and pickleball annual memberships, are those the pickleball at the Armory?
Yeah,
Okay,
just
all right,
indoor.
that's
Yep,
indoor
it's
stuff.
nothing to do with outside.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
all right, cool. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Amanda. Are we to reports already?
Well, they're quick ones. They need to be quick tonight.
Yeah, okay. We'll start with recreation.
Okay,
Amanda.
quick rec report here. With the senior center, we hired a new senior coordinator. She's going to be starting September 9th. I don't have much to say on that other than she'll be starting, and we're really excited to have someone. The senior health fair will be October 4th, so there's a lot of planning left to do for that. I'm still looking for one speaker and waiting to still confirm a second one for that. This building's still ADRC meal site, and it's soon to be the meal prep center as well for the program. All of my summer rec programming is coming to a close this week. I've broken it up into 3 separate 3-week-long sessions, so kind of stop now and have the pool and the fairs next week, and then school starts for some kids the following week. So upcoming fall programming include, and I can give a formal report on this if you want at a later date, but there was increased enrollment numbers and increased number of programs that were offered this year for youth for sure. I don't have much in the
So overall?
overall.
Yeah.
Upcoming fall programs is tennis, fall soccer, little tyke soccer, pickleball 101, and adult volleyball. That volleyball season is very long, October to March. For everyone's knowledge, if you know anybody, I am looking for 2 to 3 more soccer refs. I'm losing several to college this year, but they've been around for a long time. It's just finding that one young kid to replace them with who can stay for like 4 or 5 years.
What's the ages on those?
So 13.
Okay.
Yep, and up, yep. And then it's Sundays, September 8th through October 13th, from about 11 to 3-ish, and the pay's pretty good. We got that up last year. And then I'm still in the process of recruiting volleyball refs. I will say that there's been some feedback that they would like more pay as well, and that was just increased, so as of last year. So that is still in the works, but we're a couple months out on that yet. And then Vandahay Water's closing date is set for Tuesday, the 20th of August. Just want to put in everybody's ear, the weather has played a humongous role in our attendance this year. I've started kind of running the numbers. I don't have anything concrete at this point in time, but I can tell you there are a ton more days in the low 70s than there were in the 70s at all last year. So it's going to be very interesting to see the final numbers. And I did mention that last year, that it was a hot, dry summer at that point in time, and that was an anomaly. So I think this summer's maybe the happy medium is.
Does that affect the cost of running as well? I mean, you don't have staff, right? I mean.
So we're pretty good about sending staff home to save on payroll on those slower days, but if you want the whole pool to be open, there has to be enough lifeguards there to be in every section.
Yeah.
So it definitely will, and if we're open for a whole day and 100 kids show up versus 800 kids, or people, it's the same payroll, but as far as colder weather and like operations, I would assume it takes more to heat the pool when the sun isn't helping.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, but I don't really get into that for
Okay.
my reporting. Let's see. The health inspection we had like 2 days after our last meeting went swimmingly. No issues or follow-ups to address.
Pun intended.
No, actual pun intended. And then, so we're closing the 20th. You'll see us there on the 21st. I'm going to run a lifeguard recertification course for kids who are expiring before next season. So they may not be quite at their 2-year mark yet. But if I can do it now, then I don't have to scramble to certify 20 more people in June before we open. So that's why I'm doing that. And then this fall/winter, I'll have to get my lifeguard certification. I'll have to find a class to do that so that I can continue teaching the lifeguards at the pool, which I think is a huge asset for the city, instead of sending 40 kids out to get their own certification and keeping track of that paperwork. I think it's great to have it in-house. And then finally, the fall brochure went to print last week, so it'll probably be a week or two before we get it out, but stuff opened online this
And
week.
it's on the
Yep,
website.
so anybody can register for programs right now. Yep.
How did the fecal incident
I was gonna ask
affect
that.
both vessels?
That was my question I was going to ask that.
Were you? I mean,
Well, because I
that's
remember
why
we
we
had-
did. That's
we
why
had
we
two
put two vessels in.
and that's
right?
what I was thinking
Yeah.
about.
Yep, so it was a potential fecal incident. We didn't really have a confirmation, but we were told that, I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, Justin, am I fine?
Wood County Health Department called, notifies that the individual come into our facility with cryptosporidium. Individual didn't report any cases of exposure. Health Department followed up and requested all those facilities or locations that this individual went to either be quarantined or washed down or disinfected
I
or
gotcha.
whatever it was. So whatever restaurant, gas station, malls, shopping places, pools, since
Didn't that
then.
happen on the hottest day?
And then we
too?
had
On the
to
hottest
then-
day of summer, yep.
So we tested the water, we have to go through this whole, very, very long
I get
process.
it. Okay.
And we
Yeah.
were advised by the health department to not alarm people with how we worded it, so
Yep.
that it was worded appropriately and.
And then we
I
said,
think it was
okay,
fine.
so what
Yeah.
vessel? Well, we don't know. Okay, so,
I thought about it, like,
Sorry.
how are we designed for that?
right, so
Yeah.
that's what happened, and
Okay.
and then obviously crypto spread through.
There's no official evidence that that was actually the
Understood.
case, but
Yeah,
it was,
I get it.
and even the health department person said it's
to
beyond
avoid
a
it.
precaution.
To
That's
avoid an
all.
outbreak, they wanted us to do this. We
Yeah.
had no other cases reported, the health department didn't say anything else, so that's kind of how it happened.
Okay.
That all makes sense.
All right. Other questions for Amanda? Or discussion items? Okay. Thank you, Amanda. All right. We are on to events and programs. Are you covering Nikki?
I am not. There's no report.
Okay.
She doesn't have anything. She's out this week, and she was out last week, so she didn't have a chance to update her report. So I'm going to speak on her behalf.
Let's move on to Ben. How's that sound? Parks, Forestry, and Zoo.
Okay. Athletics, baseball, softball. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is the last day for adult softball. All youth softball's done. All baseball is done. The guys were able to do some drain tilling on GP Olson Westfield. like 2 weeks ago. So that was a nice project for them. And then we did some sod repair at Greasy Park and the Gold Malls and some wear areas before the fall season gets here. So that got done. Special events, Wenzel Plaza Friday concert series are wrapped up for the year now. The last one was Hub City Days, and very successful Friday night and Saturday night shows. The concerts at Columbia Park are done for the year now on Wednesdays. I think those were attended well. With the fireworks at the fairgrounds. MIT tournament was last weekend at the fairgrounds. I think they had 20 adult slow pitch teams. In the parks, daily maintenance as usual. For this building, we did hire a custodian. He lasted 2 days and didn't come back. So we rehired another custodian, and he's here and been working for a couple of weeks. So that's good. In forestry, Mark is done with the ash tree treatments for the year, and he's been fielding calls and doing his normal summer work with some pruning and weed control. And he's really getting kind of ready for this fall, winter season, getting things prepared on what he wants to get done. So, and at the zoo, our summer staff, in the parks too, is be wrapping up here next couple of weeks. They'll be going back to high school and college. They start losing them actually the end of this week, so they'll be trickling out. We do have the skunks. They're doing well. They're still in quarantine until they have the rabies shots. And then we do have some porcupines. They're struggling a little bit, so Sarah's been trying some different things with the vets, trying to get them up and running so we can get everybody out on exhibit this fall. Prince, our 24-year-old bison, passed away. That last heat stretch where it was pretty hot was a little too much for him. He was 24 years old, and he was kind of on the watch list of making sure he was comfortable and feeling okay. But it got to the point we had to make a decision, and he was euthanized. The guys, park staff finished a loafing shed in the elk pasture, so it's a new building in the pasture if you drive around. That should be the last one we have to do for a while. The next one up there will probably be the deer building. It's kind of an older building that needs some work in the next couple of years. But otherwise, our pastures are in pretty good shape. We redid some fencing last year, and the loafing sheds are pretty much in a good position for probably another 10, 15 years. Sarah's summer camps wrapped up. She had 30 youth and 10 adults in her summer camps. They were well attended, and individuals really liked them. My last thing for the zoo is not the best news for us, but Sarah put in her resignation. She'll be leaving the department, taking another job in a vet clinic in Rapids. Her last day will be September 20th. So she wanted to let everybody know before it got to finance personnel and those other meetings.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I believe she'll come to the next meeting and give a report.
It'll be a tour. Hopefully we see her on a tour.
Okay.
So then that position will be replaced, and, okay.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for Ben? All right, thanks, Ben. On to Amy, cemetery.
Okay, we had 14 burials in July. The new columbarium was installed Tuesday, July 23rd. I worked with Raymaker, which is the developer of our cemetery database, to add the new columbarium onto the mapping, and we did mark out some more spaces in section P as those are going pretty quickly. We came to a contract agreement with the Catholic and Lutheran Cemetery Associations, as we talked about earlier. We finished up our 2025 budget, marked out headstones for Marshfield Monument, and just been mowing.
Amy, is that that IS system that you have, for the, you
Yep.
call it cemetery information maintenance system?
Mm-hmm.
Is that cloud-based? I mean, it's online, so
Yep.
are there like QR codes throughout that people can scan? Is that?
Well, we have a QR code you can scan that you can upload and find a grave.
Yeah, so like if somebody was just going in, fresh to the cemetery, never
Yep.
been there, there's signs that they can?
Yep, the QR code is on the rule signs
Okay,
at the entrances and then outside of the office too. Yep.
So you can then search by name and.
yeah.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
and it'll actually, has GPS coordinates, so it would actually walk you to the grave
Wow,
itself.
that's really cool.
Yeah, pretty neat. All right, we got questions for you besides that? All right, thank you. Justin, you're up next.
So it's calling me. My kids can learn that I'm in a meeting not to call. Pickleball's going well. They just laid the second layer of asphalt. They're going to hopefully install fencing this week. They thought they'd be in there today or tomorrow, but with the rain, they may not be able to make it. We're planning on doing some sort of ribbon cutting in early September. Once they kind of get the paint contractor in there, fencing done, we'll start to finalize a kind of a ribbon cutting. We'll be doing that in collaboration with the pickleball players and the people that are involved. One's of restrooms has been turned over to a kind of an ad hoc committee. The committee met last week, 2 weeks ago, and they're reviewing all options again to see if there's other considerations for the restrooms moving forward. Jurassic Park, really there is no report. We haven't met in a while, so we're going to kind of circle back around. Round Barn, I really don't have anything on the Round Barn, but I do want to remind everyone the fair does start next week. So if you get a chance, go out and see the fair. They do have really good headliners this year. I'm also hoping that most of the equipment that's stored in that parking lot's also gone, because that's going to cause a problem if the construction equipment's in there. But I assume it's going to be gone. We did go through the budget process, or at least our department did. We have to submit our budget by July 31st, which we did. So now administration is reviewing it, and then they'll go back to us with any questions or comments or changes. Ambler Road Trail Project, we had a meeting today. They're set to start probably within a week or within 2 weeks, whenever the contractor can get rolling on it. So that'll be well on its way. And I think you guys are aware, but Abby did resign from her position. I think you guys were made aware of that, or I don't know if that was mentioned at our last meeting. But we just had interviews on Monday, and today we're hoping to extend an offer very soon to our candidate, and hopefully she starts very soon too. So we've had a little bit of transition in our department in the last month, and hopefully that will put an end to that, right, guys?
Yeah. Okay, we have questions for Justin at all? Okay. This is the point of the meeting where you could bring up items for future agendas, if you'd like. Anybody have anything for next month to talk about? Add? Nothing? All right. Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for 5:30 Wednesday, September 11th. We are going to have a park tour that day. For those that are new and don't know what that is, we just hop on a bus or get in cars, and I don't know if there'll be a bus this year, but we'll get in cars and drive around to different park locations, kind of preset, and we'll meet there. And
Definitely pickleball
Yeah.
over there. Probably
Yep.
definitely the zoo. Look at the loafing shed, some of the things going on there.
Yeah.
If you guys have other requests, tell me now. Don't tell me the day of,
Yeah,
because I'll have a schedule, like a lineup, so we can meet
Sure.
all. So we can't really do a detour, like, hey, can you go over to Wood County Park?
Yeah.
A little bit.
yeah,
If there's anything you guys want me to look at, whether it's Thomas, Weber, Greasy, you name it, we'll talk about it.
yeah. I'd like to throw hummus in there. I'm hearing some comments on the trails there, and be a good thing to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Anybody else? It's a fun thing to do. Haven't done it for a couple of years.
COVID kind of put a kibosh to it. We haven't
Yeah,
resumed it.
right.
So
Yeah, all right.
we'll resume it.
Great. All right, seeing nothing else on the agenda, we are adjourned.